is they mapped out in line and verse and detail that there are in fact 3 federal laws that explicitly prohibits the federal government from pushing, advancing, funding, directing, encouraging, any adjective you want to use. They're not supposed to do it. National standards, testing, and curriculum. Those laws are the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965, which was signed by Lyndon Johnson, who was a pretty liberal Democrat. There's the General Education Provisions Act, which was signed by Richard Nixon in 1970, so he's a Republican. And then there's the enabling legislation that set up the U.S. Department of Education itself, which was signed into law by President Jimmy Carter, again, liberal Democrat. So 2 of the 3 laws that were signed that prohibit the federal government from doing the kinds of things that have been done through Common Core were signed by Democrats. I think you'll probably hear, if you haven't already, there's a lot of criticism about Common Core, and it comes from Tea Party people, and it comes from people that are extreme, and it comes from suburban moms who think their kids are, thinks their kids are brighter than they are. The fact is, the legal fact is that the 2 presidents who signed these laws were liberal Democrats, hardly Tea Party people, hardly extreme. Okay? And the research that we've done on this has been written up in now 2 articles, or 2 columns by George Will, syndicated columnist who reaches about 30 million readers every week in this country, one of the best respected commentators on politics and government in probably the last 30 or 35 years, cited the research. So it's got not only credibility, I think, from the quality of the people that wrote it, but also there's an external figure with a lot of standing, a lot of credibility that's written about it twice. And he did it just about a month or so ago in the Washington Post. So the third piece of research that we've looked at had to do with the cost, because given the fact that 90% of the funding is going to come from state and local taxpayers, not the feds. The feds are only going to pay for 10%, if that, of all of K-12 education. It's going to come from the funding's going to come from the people in the state and local level. We thought someone ought to take a look at the cost. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has spent $170 million advocating for Common Core. None of the people behind it talked about a cost projection. Almost all of the states that we've been in 20 states in the last couple of years. Of the 45 states that adopted, I would say 95 or 96% of them, their governors, their commissioners, their Department of Education, their legislature, none of them did a cost projection. None of them. Stunning. Stunning. Okay? So we enlisted a guy named Tedra Barber. He had been a staffer at the U.S. Department of Education under the first Bush administration and the first administration of Bill Clinton. So he had worked for